As the war in Ukraine soon enters its second year, Ukrainian troops will find it much more challenging to reclaim territory from Russian forces who are focused on defending their remaining land gains rather than making a deeper push into the country, American officials say. Over the course of the first 10 months of the war, the Ukrainian military has, with significant American support, outmaneuvered an incompetent Russian military, fought it to a standstill and then retaken hundreds of square miles and the only regional capital that Russia had captured. Despite relentless Russian attacks on civilian power supplies, Ukraine has still kept up the momentum on the front lines since September. But the tide of the war is likely to change in the coming months, as Russia improves its defenses and pushes more soldiers to the front lines, making it more difficult for Ukraine to retake the huge swaths of territory it lost this year, according to U.S. government assessments. All of these factors make the most likely scenario going into the second year of the war a stalemate in which neither army can take much land despite intense fighting. I do think that it is far easier for Ukraine to defend territory than to go on the offensive to recapture territory, said Evelyn Farkas, a former senior Pentagon official and Russia expert. We need to be providing Ukrainians the necessary equipment and training to do that, added Dr. Farkas, now executive director of the McCain Institute. President Volodymyr Zelensky of Ukraine asked for such assistance when he met President Biden and addressed Congress on Wednesday evening, his first visit outside the country since the start of the war. Over the past 6 months, Ukrainian forces have slowed Russia's advance in the Donbas in the east, reclaimed a large swath of land in the northeast, and gained control of Kherson, a major southern city. But the wins came with a heavy cost. Thousands of Ukrainian soldiers killed in the expenditure of immense amounts of ammunition, in particular artillery rounds. In fact, throughout much of the year, Ukraine fired far more rounds of artillery in a week than the United States could produce in a month. Though Ukraine's military has consistently outperformed the Russian army, senior Ukrainian officials have warned about the possibility of a major Russian offensive. But experts on the Ukraine war say Russia does not have the forces ready for any significant offensive in the next few months.
Через поле что они?
Ukrainian officials have said they plan to continue to press their counteroffensive against the Russians. The focus will be in the south, where the Ukrainian military and political leadership believe they need to make gains against Russian forces to restore critical Ukrainian territory. American officials say Ukraine will most likely avoid sending its army directly into Crimea and will instead rely on more covert operations, similar to the attack on the Kerch Strait Bridge that knocked out a key Russian supply line, and airstrikes to attack Russia's military positions in Crimea. Ukrainian officials have told their American counterparts that it is critical to pin down Russian forces in Crimea. If they let up pressure there, the Ukrainians worry it would allow the Russians room to move more forces or defensive equipment out to other areas, according to U.S. officials who were speaking on the condition of anonymity because of the sensitivity of the discussions. Ukraine has also been reliant on American intelligence reports that pinpoint where the Russian army is at its weakest. The Ukrainian military's counteroffensive outside Kharkiv in September was successful in part because the Ukrainians were facing hollowed-out, unprepared Russian forces. American officials do not believe that even the Russian military command knew how weak those forces were or how badly prepared they were for a Ukrainian strike.